Hi friends, I welcome you all in this exciting training session being conducted by TNV Academy. Let me explain you what we will be covering in this today's session. In today's session, we will be covering the clauses 6.2 Quality Objectives and 6.3 Planning of Changes. The above classes are part of ISO 9001-2015 Clause 6 Planning. Now let us understand about the internal references taken by the clause 6.2 and 6.3 of ISO 9001-2015. As far as these classes are concerned, these takes reference from ISO 9000-2015 standard. ISO 9000-2015 standard spells out the terms and definitions used in this international standard so that no misinterpretation is done while implementing the requirements of ISO 9001-2015. Now let me tell you what the key learnings takeaways from this session. At the end of this chapter, you will be able to understand what are the quality objectives, how the quality objectives are derived for the organization, how to make smart objectives, very important to note that, why planning of changes is very important. So let's begin our discussion regarding the subclause 6.2 quality objectives. The quality objectives are derived from the guiding document for the quality management system, the quality policy signed by the top management. The policies should have a framework for setting objectives. The clause 6.2.1 of ISO 9001-2015 states that organizations shall establish quality objectives at relevant functions, levels, and processes needed for the quality management system. The quality objectives shall be consistent with the policy, be measurable, take into account applicable requirements, be monitored, be communicated, be updated as appropriate. The clause 6.2.2 states that when planning to achieve the objectives, organization shall determine what will be done, what resources will be required, who will be responsible, when will be completed, how the results will be evaluated. It is the responsibility of every employee in the organization to fulfill the commitment made by the top management in the quality policy statement. The policy will help formulate company-wide objectives and they flow down to departmental objectives and then individual objectives. This gives a good linkage for the purpose of every individual in the organization. The objectives should be smart in the sense specific, precisely what you want to achieve, measurable, quantifiable, and tangible as far as possible, achievable, should be accomplished with acceptable efforts, realistic, do not set impossible targets which defeats the purpose, time bound, to have a fixed time limit so that it cannot be open-ended. The objectives must be maintained as a documented information. It's a mandatory requirement. While planning actions to achieve these objectives, organization shall determine what will be done, specific, objective, quantified, what resources will be required, financial, people, infrastructure requirements, who will be responsible. One person should be responsible for ownership of the objective. When it will be completed, time bound, not open-ended, to bring focus on this objective. How the results will be evaluated, like a review mechanism, departmental meetings, management review meetings, etc., etc. A sample of a smart objective would be to improve the customer satisfaction rating from the current level of 80% to 90% by March 2023, assigned by the person responsible with a date. Okay, so this clearly shows objective is smart in nature, which has got the target, which has got the measurability, which is very specific. Everything is very clearly spelled out in this objective. So let's begin our discussion regarding the subclass 6.3, planning of changes. Change is constant in the current dynamic business environment. Any change in the organization is welcome as it leads to improvement provided it's implemented in a planned manner involving all the stakeholders in this process. ISO 9001-2015 clause 6.3 states that when the organization determines the need for changes to the quality management system, it shall be carried out in a planned manner. The standard has evolved to enable organizations to adapt to changing environments or circumstances while implementing changes. Organization to consider purpose of the change and potential consequences, the integrity of the quality management system, the availability of resources, allocation and reallocation of responsibilities and authorities. When changes need to be made in the organization, either in the product or process or service, the impact of the change needs to be considered before making the change. Change is addressed in the following classes of quality management system. Class 6.3, which is planning, implementing changes to the quality management system. Class 7.1.6, organizational knowledge for addressing changing needs and trends with respect to the knowledge. Class 7.5, changes to the documents. Class 8.1, controlling operational changes, planned and unintentional. Class 8.2.4, changes to the requirements of products and services. And class 8.5.6, addressing changes affecting products and services. Friends, I hope you are clear with the requirements of subclass 6.2 and 6.3 of ISO 9001:2015. Now we will learn about the mandatory documents that an organization has to maintain while meeting the requirements of subclass 6.2 and 6.3 of ISO 9001:2015. There is a mandatory documentary requirement of maintaining quality objective as per 6.2 of the standard. Departments to review the objectives and progress on achievement of these objectives to be recorded. For class 6.3, there is no mandatory documentation. However, it is a good practice to document the changes, and this establishes a good knowledge base for the organization, for posterity, for future reference. Okay? Dear friends, we have come to the conclusion of this training session. I hope you all must have understood the requirements and concepts that fall under the class 6.2 and 6.3 of ISO 9001:2015. See you soon with an exciting new topic. Till then, it's me signing out. Thank you and goodbye.